Yeah, in this video, I'm just going to show you some automotive repair tips. There will be more videos coming. I'm just waiting until I have some new content to make so I don't go over stuff that I've already covered. I was also planning to do a meet and greet at the SEMA show again this year, but the SEMA show was canceled. FabTech was canceled. I'm pretty sure PRI is going to be canceled, but I will be at the Bar Z Summer Bash in Rancho Cucamonga. That's on August 29th. And if Global Auto Salon goes on in Saudi Arabia in the end of November, I will be there. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, and if it doesn't happen, I'm going to go to a foreign country for a long vacation, some different country instead. So anytime I take the hood off of a car, I like to take my Randy Richards in the shop, scribe, and scratch a line around the hinges, because most hoods are adjustable and you want to be able to put it back on in the same place. And another thing I like to do is when I take the hood off a car, I always throw a blanket up here like this. Then I can take the hood off by myself without scratching the paint, since I always work by myself. And I can put it back on the same way too. Another thing you want to do if you're doing some major repair like replacing an engine, first thing you want to do is drain the oil and antifreeze out so it's not all on the ground right where you're working. And another good idea, if you have the space where you can set all the parts out and set the bolts by each part, and then you can put this back together much faster. You don't have to figure out where stuff goes. Yeah, another thing you should do is when you disconnect the fuel lines, you should also loosen the gas cap. Or what'll happen sometimes is it'll build up pressure inside the tank and it'll start a siphon. You'll come outside the next day and there'll be gas all over the ground. Yeah, and I also like to take and tie the AC compressor out of the way and not have to disconnect the lines, and I don't have to charge the AC. And you can also do that with a power steering pump, and you don't have to even disconnect the lines there. Yeah, a lot of these Asian import cars on the oil pan, they just use gasket sealer. Especially Toyotas, and it uses this gray gasket sealer. Don't go and put a gasket in there. It's so much better with just the gasket sealer on there, because then you can tighten the bolts down tight and it doesn't leak. And when you see exhaust manifold gaskets like this that are just thin pieces of metal that are either riveted or spot welded together, you either want to go to the dealership and buy new ones or reuse these. If you put those aftermarket ones in there that have material in them, you'll warp the manifolds. And the only way to fix that then is to either have the manifold serviced or replace them. Yeah, it looks bad if you a customer's car is 20 years old and it never had an exhaust leak. You put a new engine in it and 6 months later it leaks. Yeah, another thing you always want to look at when you're putting an engine in is these dowel pins. Sometimes what will happen when you pull the old engine out, one of the dowel pins will get stuck in the hole in the transmission. Then you'll go to put the new engine in and you'll have it all the way down in there and you're trying to line the transmission up, and then you'll realize you didn't pull it out of there. And you end up having to pull the engine back forward to do that. Yeah, and anytime I do some major repair, I always pressure test the cooling system to make sure nothing leaks. That way the customer doesn't get it back and a few days later say something leaks. Yeah, it's always a good idea to do that. Yeah, another thing I like to do anytime I do a big job is I plug a scan tool in it, run it for a while, then plug a scan tool in it and make sure no codes come up. So if you're doing a real big job, it's very easy to forget to plug some of the wires in. Then what will happen is the customer will get the car back, and a day or two later they'll call you up and say check engine lights on. This way you'll know beforehand